Heyo! Welcome to the Team SNG test hands video. Today we're going to be doing the test hands for the Springans and Albaz deck profile that was featured on the channel earlier this week. If you haven't already checked it out, what are you doing here? Go check it out first. It's fine. If you want to see what the deck does before you check it out, that's fine by me. While I get your attention, I'd like to ask you guys, leave us a like, leave us a comment, leave us a subscribe, and definitely help us get to 200 subscribers, guys. At the point where I'm filming this, we're at about 185, 186. So get us to 200, because I got an announcement at 200 that's going to be, well, very exciting. So, that all out the way, this is a going second deck, so we're going to do 3 going second test hands. Let's get into it. Alright, so our first test hand, I want to see Gold Golgonda in here. Paydor, Springans Watch, that's fine because that's a copy of Golgonda. Blast, Captain, Danger Thunderbird, and another Springans Watch. So it's a bit of a shame we got 2 Springans Watches because we can't only use both on one turn. But we do have our Gold Golgonda at least, which is nothing short of fantastic. So at this point, we're going to start off safe. We're going to use our Springans Watch to search out our Great Sea Gold Golgonda. We're going to activate that. Now we're going to activate our Great Sea Gold Golgonda, and we're going to send our Springans Captain Sargus to the grave to special summon our Springans ship Explorer. At this point, what we're going to do is we're going to normal summon our Springans Paydor, and we're going to tribute him off to return our Captain Sargus to the field. And we're then going to activate Springans Paydor effect in the grave to attach him to our Explorer as material. At this point, we're going to set our Springans Blast. And we're going to use Explower's effect to detach Paydor and blow up something on our opponent's field. And then he's sitting at 26, so we're going to then attempt to attack over something. Actually, no, at that point we're then going to activate our Danger Thunderbird in hand. And at this point, we're going to flip a coin. Heads. Tails. Heads and tails. There we go. So, heads. Springans Watch gets sent to grave. And Danger Thunderbird gets summoned to the field, and we get to draw a card. That's another Springans Captain Sargus. We're going to use Captain Sargus' effect to attach him to our Explorer. And we can then actually also overlay our Sargus and our Thunderbird into our Dingirsu Orcus of the Evening Star and detach our Sargus to destroy, well, send a card to grave. At this point, what we've probably done is we've taken potentially 2 monsters off our opponent's field. Hopefully now we're ready to start attacking. Our Springans ship Explorer is sitting at 3,100 right now because it's gaining 1,000 from Gold Golgonda being on field, and it's gaining 500 from having Captain Sargus attached to it. So at this point, we're going to then attempt to attack our opponent, do some damage. On our opponent's turn, we do have Springans Blast to negate a monster effect as well, which is really useful. And we can also use our Explower's effect to banish itself. Also, stop our opponent from attacking on their own turn. So, this isn't a bad opening. we've done quite well here. We actually have several Springans in grave, which is really useful, and meaning that we can bring them all back next turn when Springans ship Explorer returns itself to our field during our standby phase. So at the end of the day, we've done quite well here. We've removed at least 2 cards from our opponent's field as well in the process. So I'm not going to complain about that. So on to our second test hand. Gold Gaganda, fantastic. Branga, Thunderbird, Fallen of Albaz, Thunderbird, and Springans Watch. That's actually incredible. That's such a good opening. I don't think you could ask for much better. You've got your Fallen of Albaz, you've got your Branga, you got everything you really need to be able to put together a formidable board. So first things first, we're going to activate our Gold Gaganda. We're going to use our Gold Gaganda, and we're going to send our Branga to the field, to the grave, sorry, to, what am I doing? Do apologize. To specials from the deck, extra deck, our Explorer. At this point, we're going to use Springans Watch, and we're going to send to the grave our Captain Sargus, and we're going to, we'll add our Springans Rocky. So at this point, we can get an Explorer with 3 materials on it. And we can detach all 3 materials to destroy 3 cards on our opponent's side of the field, so long as they're all adjacent to 1 zone. So that's really useful, because that means that we've effectively blown up, potentially, most of our opponent's field. Now, if our opponent still has some back row we're worried about, we're in really good shape, because we could use our Fallen of Albaz and send our Danger Thunderbird to fusion summon Fallen of Albaz and Thunderbird off, or sorry, Fallen of Albaz, and really whatever suits the situation off into one of our Albaz fusions. So I like to say that I'm going into Titaniclad, but in all honesty, if my opponent doesn't have anything with 2500 or more attack, then, you know, Brigrand is also an option. Or if my opponent's managed to special summon on my turn, then I do have Splin the Iron Dash Dragon. But I do have choices here, which is really nice. Now, if I had gone with Paydor, I could potentially have utilized Paydor to bring back a Captain Sargus, but that means that Springans Explorer does less blowing up. So it depends on how you want to play this. If you would like to go into a rank 8, so you could potentially go into your Dingirsu using Titaniclad and a Captain Sargus, that is also an option you have with the hand we've opened with. But at this current juncture, I think Titaniclad the Ash Dragon plus Explorer, probably having blown up 3 cards, you're probably going to have destroyed quite a bit off your opponent's field, and Danger Thunderbird also potentially taking away a back row. You're likely going to now be attacking your opponent for quite a decent chunk of damage. And again, on your next turn, Explorer is going to go banish itself off, stopping your opponent from attacking. And if your opponent does get rid of your Titaniclad, well, he's going to float into a Fallen of Albaz. And if your opponent's done any special summoning, then your Fallen of Albaz is going to give yourself a Splend by sending your last Danger Thunderbird to the grave in his place. Alright, on to our final test hand. Blast, Albaz, Rocky, Branga, Springans Watch, and Danger Bigfoot. So this is, again, another really interesting play. We've got our Fallen of Albaz, again, to take something off our opponent's field, and it will take something along with it with our Danger Bigfoot. Now we can use Springans Watch to get ourselves our Gold Gaganda. And then we can use our Gold Gaganda to give ourselves our Explorer. At this point, we're going to use Fallen of Albaz, sending Danger Bigfoot to the grave, so hopefully fuse off into our Titaniclad. And we're going to use our Rocky and Branga to attach themselves to our Explorer. And then we're going to use both of them as material, detach them, and blow up potentially 2 cards on our opponent's field. That, coupled with the card blown up with Danger Bigfoot, and with the card fused off by Fallen of Albaz, we've probably got a clear run at our opponent's life points for at least this turn. On top of that, we now have Springans Blast, which we can set And with our Titaniclad being on field, we're not going to take out one, but we're going to take out 2 zones. And so that's really useful because, again, that takes 2 zones away from our opponents and potentially negates 2 monster effects, depending on the way that we time it. On top of that, our Explorer can banish itself to stop a monster from attacking on the next turn. And if our opponent does find a way to get rid of our Ash Dragon, well, that's not really a concern, because we're just going to have him float into something else. So as you can see, this deck is quite consistent. It does have the ability to get to its Gold Sea, Great Sea, Gold Gaganda really consistently, which does get you your Explorer on board. And if you do see any of your Fallen of Albazes, well, you've got your Titaniclad, your Brigrand, and your Splind to all give you options on how to dismantle your opponent's board and where to go with it from there. At that point, I'd just like to ask you guys, do leave us a like, leave us a comment, leave us a subscribe. And help me get to 200, guys, because once I get to 200, I got something really exciting to announce for you all. I can't wait to get there, and I can't wait to tell you guys what's coming and what I've been planning. That being said, I'll see you guys at the next video.